Day two, creating a creative life. My name's Callum. Thanks for tuning in because this vlog is all about taking what's been in my head for years now as an ambition and trying to create a real pathway for me to follow. So I am trying to start a creative professional career. So illustration, comedy, writing, and performing, but really like anything that involves creativity is what I'm pursuing. And I've been working in an office job for 10 years. I don't want to do that anymore. And so I'm starting these vlogs to keep myself accountable and make sure that I am staying true to the vision as I go through this process. And so the first vlog I did was just talking about sort of why I'm doing this transition and what I'm hoping to achieve. And I was going to go in a bit more detail this time in terms of like the actual art side of things and what my vision is for getting things started as an illustrator and a writer. And so basically I had this idea where I had all these ideas for stories. Some of them are picture books, some of them are comics, and the sort of end goal involves writing a novel or a screenplay. And I thought, right, I have to stop just dreaming about this. I have to start trying to actually actively pursue this. And so for the last 18 months, basically alongside the day job and parenting and trying to just like exist as a person, I've been drawing. And some of that drawing's been focused on completing picture books that my little brother wrote when I did the illustrations for. I've done my first picture book, which I wrote the story and did the pictures for. And I've done a short, it's like a poem really, poem-based story that I'm turning into a mini book as well so far, as well as trying to enter into a couple of competitions just to try and, sort of get my name out there and raise awareness to my work. There's some other projects that I've had. Some of them I've had in my head for 10 years of storybook ideas that I want to turn into reality. And so I left my job a couple months ago, and the first priority for me is trying to get these projects out. I've got basically 10 different projects that I'm working through at the moment. And at the end of completing those projects, I will have a portfolio of my work, my art, my writing that I can put to literary agents or publishing companies, hopefully to generate interest in potentially publishing some work or some future work. But in the meantime, I'm trying to build an audience or a community of people interested in seeing this work online. Otherwise, I'm just making it for myself. And so I have absolutely fallen in love with the pursuit of taking a story from my mind and coming up with a visual representation of that, coming up with words to accompany those pictures in an interesting way and not just sort of A to B to C in terms of like how that story progresses. And the idea that I have long term is to eventually write like a novel length story that could be a screenplay or something worth, turning into a movie or a play in the future. But to sort of hone that storytelling skill, I'm working on sort of picture books and very simple application of this is the story, these are the beats of the story, and trying to get better at that skill set. And that requires some good illustrations and pictures. So that's sort of what I've been working on as a top priority. And so I've got some of my work to show you guys, and I'll talk through a little bit about the kind of things that I'm working on and what I'm liking or not liking about the work that I've done so far. And a lot of it right now is experimentation because I've been a lifelong illustration fan, but I'm very new to trying to pursue it professionally. And so I'm viewing all of the work that I'm doing right now as practice, and I'm trying to execute it to the best of my ability, and hopefully generate some interesting stuff, right? So I guess just to get things started, the first thing I did was I saw these videos online about people using alcohol markers, and I was blown away by the color quality that people were able to generate. And so I started playing around with this, and this this one's embarrassing, but this is my from memory attempt at Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this is what came out of my mind in terms of what the turtle looked like. Now, he looks like he's been hit by a truck, but I was quite happy with some of the colouring. It's like quite an interesting combination of greens in terms of how it was drawn. And I was excited by, I've always done sketches, like pencil sketches, but I was really excited by the prospect of, hold on, now I can colour things in a way which is really vibrant and actually looks like it's come off like a printer as opposed to coming out of pens. And so I was a bit more ambitious with my second attempt. I tried to do more of a sort of scene with the turtle. So he's Leonardo perched on top of a building, and I wasn't happy with the sky, but I was trying different things out in terms of coloring. I liked the background being included, but I wanted to work on a turtle with a bit more motion to him. And so here we go with Michelangelo swinging his nunchucks, and I was happy with how the sort of, it felt like a bit more energy captured in this picture. But the one I'm most pleased with so far out of my sort of turtle saga is a redo of Raphael. So this was a reference image I found online, which I really liked, the sort of position and the city backdrop behind him. I applied my own sort of color scheme to it, but when I was looking back on these pictures, I was really quite amazed. This is only a few weeks in between these two pictures, but what a difference it makes looking at a reference image. That was a big learn for me. It's like, this is from my head. This is actually having a reference image to guide my imagination in terms of what I'm drawing. And so even in those 4 turtle pictures, I do have Donatello, just haven't colored him in yet. It kind of shows you the benefit of practicing, right? Because if I had just done that first version of Raphael and stopped, I'd probably never put my pen to paper again. But like I said, this whole process right now is about practice. So we got a random Deadpool, and then I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. This is Spider-Man swinging through the city, and I kind of used the color scheme from the 90s cartoon that I watched growing up as a kid. But there's some people out there doing amazing fan art, and for me it's just about practicing with really colorful characters that I love, close to my heart. Superheroes are a big deal for me as a kid growing up, loving those kind of characters. And so after sort of branching out with the fan art stuff, I then did some pencil work on my son. He's always looking very surprised, his mouth open. He's a bit more handsome than that, but I quite like the expression that I caught. And then my wife had asked me to do some pictures for an information campaign around online safety for children. So I did a few pictures, and these are all on my Instagram if you want to see them in more detail. Callum Jarvie, it's just my handle on Insta. But I was having a lot of fun just like not having to draw a version of something that already exists and just going completely from my own mind. And so again, using these alcohol markers, I'm just amazed by the color quality that comes out on paper. And then this was a memento of my trip to LA. I talked about in my last vlog where I was pursuing improv comedy and stand-up comedy. And so this is just a little sort of collage of all the different things that came across. You got the Comedy Store. I've spent a lot of time on Melrose Avenue, visited the Groundlings Improv Theatre, UCB Improv Theatre. Like, had a hell of a trip for 6 weeks. I'll just grab a couple more pictures. But these are my most recent pictures, and I'm really having a lot of fun starting to experiment with some acrylic paint work as well. So this is another alcohol markers. It's like an imaginary version of like what things could come up in my daughter's life, and she was very unhappy that she can't see her face but I was happy with like how the colouring turned out. And then I'm working on one of the stories that I'm working on is about a story where my daughter meets and talks to a little blueberry that we found in the house, and so she's meeting the little blueberry man. This was a acrylic painting that I did, and then I went over and I added some detail with the alcohol markers, and then this was a cool one I was happy with, where the idea is someone's world is falling apart, and so that's their heart in the middle of the world being sort of blown apart by could be a sad thing or could be an exciting thing. It's totally changing the course of their life. So this is sort of like the work I'm most proud of. Like, there's, to support finished pieces of work like that, there's countless sketches and ideas that haven't been coloured in yet, but like this is I guess is a good chance to show what pictures look like before they get coloured in. I'm working on a 3-picture story of a sort of what my family life is like at home, and so this is like a pencil sketch of a picture that I'm gonna colour in with the alcohol markers, and I'll show that again when it's finished. But I'm just having a lot of fun right now, really trying to let the creativity loose in terms of how I want to go on it. One of the projects I'm working on is a comic book, but I'll probably do a video specifically dedicated to that topic, because that's something that I'm really excited about doing for the first time. But this is sort of what I wanted to show today, and I guess for me it's about explaining that I'm not just haphazardly doing this. I have, walked away from a stable job specifically because I want to be able to find a way of making money through doing something that I love, and that is drawing. That's telling stories and trying to make people laugh and smile with pictures and stories. So thanks for making it this far in the video. Look forward to checking in with you guys again, and yeah, I've been Callum. Thank you.